The design room. Here we are. Hey, Rocky's joining us today. That's nice. Why did the chicken not cross the road? Because he was tired. Ads are coming in 2 minutes. Because OC wasn't here to give him the nudge. That's true. I can get it. I totally get it. You're absolutely right. Without OC, our conversations about chickens falls to almost zero. So it was an integral part of our mornings or the beginning hours of our show, and now OC is missing. I have sent a oh damn. I've sent a note to see if he's okay, or they are okay. Sorry, my pronouns are not the best. As will begin in 2 minutes, we're going to go here. Today we're going to basically just go over the list, because I think that we're going to start doing the building part of using the new setup on Monday. Because I have a couple bugs because of the fact that the tutorial is 4 years old, that some of the things are not correct because it's 4 years old, and the game has the game engine has updated several times since then. So there's a couple things on variables that aren't doing correct. Time to gather the artists, make sketches, and send out missing person posters. Let's find the missing yearling. Yeah. I'm hoping it's just something simple, like they're on vacation or something like that, which is totally cool. I just was wondering about him. He would be the second one that we've lost, and that's sad. Joy, are you going to get married again, or do you like being single? My goal is possibly to get married again, but the problem is finding someone who will marry me. I'm kind of a pain in the ass, in all honesty. Devil King, I just noticed that we haven't seen OC this week. I was wondering about them. Yeah. I'm not, and Thor's mother, my ex-wife, who we separated in 1994, my only wife, by the way, ever, made it very clear that I'm not as easy as a husband as you would expect. That is the question we will ask ourselves. That question, who would marry me? And the fact is if they would marry you, should you trust them? Their judgment may not be the best. Just saying. Yeah. No, I've been married once. Unbeknownst to what is said on the internet, because apparently on the internet they said that my second wife, they met me and my second wife. Someone said that they met me and my second wife. And my second wife used to be married to somebody else at Blizzard, which makes no sense whatsoever, because I've never been married twice. And my first wife I was married to, and for years before I even started Silicon and Synapse, which is Thor's mom. So she had never been married before. So I don't know where these stories come from, but it does make me laugh. No, I don't think marriage is overrated. I actually like the concept of it. I like it, thing about it, but there's a hesitation in me when it comes to getting married, that sometimes is quite strong. Other times not, but sometimes is very quite strong. Unless you do it to pay less taxes. If you're getting married to pay less taxes, you shouldn't be getting married. I think Savvy Otter is correct in that marriage is not about finding the perfect person, but about choosing someone who inspires you to be the best your best self every single day. No, 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 no. That's the only reason to get married. You mean for taxes? Tax purposes? Is that what you're saying? I'm telling you, if you get married for tax purposes, you need to reevaluate for taxes. It's not that big a savings, in all honesty. Well, Devil King, I think that, and our Brits here online will probably attest to this. I think that our insurance and or health insurance medical system here is not good. I lived 4 years in the UK, and the NHS was absolutely phenomenal. So I have to give them credit where credit's due. They did some they I for a first year I didn't go. I remember, and I'll tell you the story this real quick, is I went to the doctor the first time in the NHS, which I went to the GP in my area, which because they assign you, and depending on what area you're in, you get a clinic and and GP in that clinic assigned to you. And I go in there and they help me because I had to get high blood pressure medicine and stuff like that because I had run out when I first got there. And I go in and they do all the stuff. They check my blood pressure. They do blood tests, all that stuff. Everything's good, you know. But I come out of the exam room, and I'm standing in the lobby of the exam room, and I'm standing there, and I'm like, okay, what do I do? You know, and the girl behind the desk sees me over there, and she goes, "Is there something else you need?" I go, and I'm like, I'm a little bit in a little bit of a, not a panic, but a little bit of anxiety. I'm like, where do I pay? What do I do? I don't know. It's the first time I've been here. She goes, you don't pay, you just go home. I'm like, oh, okay. So I go home and I notice that for the next three to 5 days, my anxiety levels are rising like there's no tomorrow. I mean, absolutely just going through the roof, and I couldn't figure out why. And then I realized it on the 5th day. I was waiting for the bill to come and worried about what the bill was going to be. And that bill never came. And when I went to the pharmacy to get my meds, there was no bill there either. And I thought, okay, there's a fluke going on. But they took care of me for 3 years. I had my blood pressure, all the things of just normal body stuff. I never got charged a dime. They were always extremely polite and kind. They even when it came to the COVID shots, they would send me messages and call me when a new one came out. They were absolutely greatly helpful. You know, and it wasn't just like in that little clinic, but it was also because I had to go and do some tests for some stuff at the hospital in Cambridge, you know, all that stuff. And I never waited longer than, in fact, I've waited longer in the US for some tests when I was in California than I ever had to wait in the UK. And even things, if they saw something that they thought, okay, there might be a problem here, they would write me and say, we think there's a problem. Can you just stop by? We'll take a look at it, you know, that kind of thing. And I thought that was really cool. And I really liked it. And then now I come back here and I do have some medical insurance, but it's from way back. And based on what's going on in the US, it's going to be canceled here soon. It doesn't cover a whole lot, but it's going to the doctor now is stressful again, which I've really enjoyed it not being stressful. So yeah, you are right, Savvy Otter. The NHS is severely underfunded. However, the people that are in it and run it are phenomenal. They were always just so polite and kind and helpful. And I can't argue that in any way. And I've had some great doctors in the US as well. It's just there was always the cost was always caused more anxiety than whatever the problem I was having was. Yep, you go to the doctor today, paid an equivalent of $5, and for the rest of the year, I will pay zero because I hit my spending ceiling, which is $100. Well, the thing was it. How do I explain this? I was more apt when something happened to show up to the doctor there than I am in the US because I didn't have to worry about what it was going to cost. I didn't have to worry about whether I eat for the next week or I go to the doctor. That's the best way I can put it. Yeah, I mean, if you can get it, use it. And the I will to the day I die, I will say the NHS treated me extremely well. They and Savvy Otter, please, if this makes sense to you, please help me explain it a little bit. They made me feel like the health system cared whether I lived or died, if that makes sense. Whereas in the US it doesn't always feel like they care. They just want to get you in and out. So yeah. So it's funny because I still get texts from them every now and then. Even though I'm not in the UK anymore, I still get texts for them anyway now every now and then saying, "Oh, you should come in and get checked," and blah blah. And I'm like, I can't. I don't live there anymore. Yeah, you can definitely tell in the NHS that they're not doing it for the paycheck. They do it because they honestly care about people, and they do things. And I had to go in for like quite a few tests because I had a long COVID issue that just came out of nowhere, and they fixed me up and took care of everything for like a year. You know, and that include like getting blood tests every 2 weeks to make sure the medication wasn't destroying my body, all kinds of stuff. So it was they did a great job. I am very thankful to them, and I'm very thankful I was there when it happened because it probably would have cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars here. Yeah, that's true. It feels like they're making customers more than trying to fix. Well, it's the thing that I found fascinating because I had an issue, and they did in the UK. They tested everything, and when I mean everything, it wasn't just like blood tests and stuff like that. They also did DNA tests to check to see if the medications they were putting me on were going to interact well or not with my body or even work because some medications don't work on you because your DNA doesn't like them. Your DNA isn't susceptible to them. They did a bunch of that kind of stuff. And then that's how I found out that I had a gene that causes arthritis pain to be like 10 times that of other people. So there was just a lot of those kind of things. It's just, oh, by the way, we were looking at your stuff and we also did these 20 other tests and we found something that might actually help that isn't going to be life threatening. It's like, it was really cool. They did a good job. Okay. That has nothing to do with game dev except for you could say that they were playtesting my body. That's funny, but from a medical standpoint, they playtested my body, said what works, what doesn't. Yeah. Yeah. Because I think in the US, it's like, here's the top 10 tests. Just do those. Whereas in the UK, it's like, oh, let's actually figure out what causes that. Because I've had high blood pressure since I was 12 years old. And the doctor in the UK was the very first doctor that asked me, did they ever figure out why your blood pressure is so high? And no doctor had ever asked me that before. And then they did tests to try to figure out why my blood pressure was so high when there's really no reason for my blood pressure to be that high. So I thought that was fascinating. So I don't know. Good stuff. Yeah, the cost of medication in the US. Here's something that you'll find fascinating about the UK is yes, there is cost to some medications, but what I found out because I was 59 when I got there and I turned 60 when I was there. And apparently after you turn 60, your medications are automatically free. I did not know this. So I went in and I'm like, okay, I'm going to pay my $5 or whatever it was for medication because the cost is like nothing. And then I go in there and they go, okay, they just hand it to me and they go, okay, thanks. I'm like, but I paid $5 last time. They go, oh no, you're over 60. It's free. I'm like, what? No, they didn't figure it out. They tried, but other issues came up that had to be, they were more pressing. So we didn't continue down that road. Oh, in Wales, they are for all ages. Cool. Yeah. I just found it interesting. Completely different system. I've lived under both. I think that the US could do better. That's what I'll say about that. It does seem that way, Sim. At sometimes, yes, it does seem like that in the US. Like it's just a revolving door, get you in and out. Treat the symptom, not the cause type thing. But the NHS people, like I said, they were very, very helpful, very strong, very just like wanting to help, not just wanting to get you in and out. So, and the question that always comes up, and this is from my experience, when I was in the U.S., I would have to pay my taxes, of course, for both state and federal. I would have to pay, and you can look on your paycheck, is you're still paying a premium for your health insurance. The company does pay some of it, but you do have a monthly cost to that. I had to pay co-payments and those kind of things. So I actually sat down one day and did the math. So between taxes and premiums and co-pays and all that stuff and medication costs and stuff like that, my yearly pay, it came to 56% of my yearly pay for all of that. In the UK, it was 40% flat. It was part of normal taxes. So I paid the 40% and everything else was done. So I actually saved thousands and thousands of dollars as a patient in the UK than I would have ever saved here. And I probably would have ended up in debt here based on the things that they had to do to figure out what was wrong at one point. So when they go, oh, but it raised your taxes, it doesn't. It doesn't at all. Like I said, if they can do it and cover everything with 40% of my taxes, with 40% of my pay, which is fine, instead of 56%, and I don't have to worry about going to the doctor, and I don't have to worry about copays, and I don't have to worry about medication pays. Yeah, yes, please sign me up. So the whole tax thing is just a stupid argument, in my opinion, as someone who has lived in both. Yes, it goes to everything. Yeah, Savvy Otter's correct. That 40% covers everything. It covers the education, it covers the emergency services, it covers the police, etc. All that stuff. Sorry, got on a bit of a rant. Sorry. But we can do better. That's the only thing I say is we can do better. I'm not saying do it a certain way. I'm saying we can do better. Yeah. So here we go. Let's get the logo down and go into here. So our main character, he's 10 years old. So insurance premiums are, no, I'm kidding. Oh, that's funny. Yes, it is. The percentage does change based on your income. I'm just saying, from my perspective, it was 40%. That's where we were. So let's see. If little Billy went to the store. Okay, let's see. Let's see. We're gonna go motivations. Okay, we'll do it here. We'll put it here. I spelled it all wrong on purpose. So he needs to pay his insurance premiums. Just kidding. I will delete that. Sorry. I was just being silly. Yeah, the mini game is to figure out. That is a very good point, Devil King. You get hurt in the game, and you have a mini game to figure out what your insurance, how much your insurance will cover. That is absolutely true, and that's another thing that it removes. It removes that whole approval or denial phase of what the U.S. does. But yeah. Okay. Sorry, my brain is now on that. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Oh, did we have over here? Skill notes. No, no, no. That's not where it's at. So we go down here to boarding house. Because if we're going to put something in there for that, we'd have to put it in the right place. I'm not seeing. I know we had one. Oh, I think it's in the forest, isn't it? Yep. Okay, over here. Here we go. Forest Clinic. We would have to put it here. There you go. I put it in there for you. You have to play for what insurance will pay. There you go. There's your mini game. We've put it in the doctor's office here, in the clinic. Okay, boop, 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 boop. Oh, let's get. I'm sorry, I'm retracking my brain here. So what I'm going to do is I believe Monday I'm going to just take whatever I have that has the different lands in it. So if we look at what I was working on in Game Maker here, you turn it on and open it up. I'm just going to go ahead, and even though I have all these errors, there's a bunch of errors in there that I have to figure out. So it's slowed me down here because that's what these red marks down here are. Because I think it's just some assignment errors. So I have to figure out what is going on with them. So there's quite a few of them. And they seem to be stacking up, and they all seem to be about the same thing. As I think it has to do with the way arrays are done. So I'm downloading the manual for Game Maker Studio coding, and I'm gonna try to figure out what the difference is to how arrays were made before and how they are made now, and then I'll figure out what's going on there. However, what I am going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start building our maps on Monday for our different areas, because with this new design, with buildings being like this and this small, let me turn the collision map off because it's a little bright and put everything back on. I can start building out the city in the smaller compact world, because this particular setup is actually to scale. And I think that'll be really cool, because then we can walk around. I can make all the signs that, because we can make this sign, we can say, okay, let me see if we can open it. Yeah. It'd be real easy to change the, oh wow, this thing is just like trying to open everything up here. Okay then. Because we can go here and go to the variables, and we can change the name of it. So we can say, instead of, actually I need to add one. We can say that instead of saying don't walk on the grass, we just put the name of the building. So if we say this is the bakery, then when the window pops up, it'll just say bakery, and that'll be great. Okay, we'll be on hold for a second. That's what I'm running into in Blender. The tutorials I watch from the older versions and things changing. Yeah, it's a tricky process. Game insurance, yes. Working title: How to Become a Medical EA. That's funny. Okay, so yeah, and that is the problem. I actually like the idea of doing older tutorials, and here's why. Because if things have changed, it gives me an opportunity to learn those changes and become a better coder. So in fact, I'll show it here in a minute, is one of the things that he talks about in the thing is that he believed that some of the scripts would be turned into procedurals later. So what I did was I started writing them in individual scripts, but in procedural form, so that when we get to the part where it changes to procedurals, then I can just copy and paste them, and everything will already be done. I don't have to go. It won't be a madhouse. It's just me adding it to a single file, and I'll explain that in a second what I'm talking about, because it's a little bit. The visuals on it will just make more sense. Ads are running, they do not walk, they more like crawl. Malieve AC, laugh out loud. Yeah, game. Next, Yearjoy Game Insurance. Sometimes you feel like you need it that way. I mean, boop doop. Oh, I'm back. I'm back. Okay, so what I was talking about was this: is when I'm not, since I'm not a programmer, and this is me learning programming for Game Maker. I mean, like I said, I have played around with Python, which this is similar to, but not exactly. So what I've done was this: is if we go to like our scripts, see if I can make this a little bit smaller, bigger window here. So if we look at like our scripts for this stuff, then we can go, and I've already started like collecting them. So if we have this, you can see that it's put together as a function, instead of just, because what he's writing the code as is basically only this part here, only shifted. So like over here, without this function name and all this other stuff. So I started writing them as functions to help combat that later. The only thing that I seem to be having trouble with, and what's been causing the delays in what we're doing, is these variables down here, the arrays. And when I was putting it together, I was thinking about it, is because it was saying that message is not, it's expecting a string, but message is supposed to be an array of things that are in that body. And message seems to be the problem for all of these things, is arguments, because the arguments is supposed to be an array as well, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of those kind of things. And I'm just like, okay, there's something I'm missing. And I'm not a good enough coder to just immediately understand it. So these are all causing problems, and they're all the same thing. They're about arrays, they're about strings. And what I found is when I finished the 19th tutorial, now whenever I walk up to our little guy here, let's bring this down here, close this, center everything. So when I walk up to this little cat here, when in the build, it crashes. So I can walk over here, I can walk up to him, and I can click on him. He used to ask the questions. In fact, I showed it on one of the things, is he used to ask questions and we would answer them, everything works. But now anything having to do with text crashes the game. And I'm trying to figure out why. And mostly it's and I've gone through, I've been able to figure out some of it because it was in the, people had put stuff in the comments, but even digging through the comments, I don't have a programmer's vocabulary to understand everything that they're saying. They're in an array. Is the way that it works in this thing is, if we go back here, what he teaches you to set up. Let me see if I can find it here real quick. This one? Oh, well, it kind of is. These are the variables. So I may have to, this is, I think, is where the problem is because he uses argument, and he says that he thinks that using the argument thing built into the system may change. And I think it did change, is because I think the argument now, you actually have to name specific things. And that's, I think, where the problem is. See if it's here. These are the this is how they break up the OGs. Where is what I'm looking for? Dialogue responses. So yeah, so this is the array. And I think, and this is what switches out. So this is what the array is. You gave response A, thank you, blah, 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 blah. You gave response B, any further responses? This is what it answers. But I honestly believe that this is where the problem lies, is because we're using OG0 for this, but also OG0 for other things. Because and I think it has to do with the drop stuff. And I think the drop stuff, because when we hit plants and stuff like that, they drop little leaves and things like that. And I think what's happening is because we've used OG0 and we also used OG0 on the other thing, I think there's some confusion going on there. So I may have to, I have to learn how to use the bug test version, which is the debugging on it. And that's on my list. How are you saving the strings? Right now, it's just like this. This is how it's set up. So if you can see it, is it on the screen? Yeah, it's on the screen. Yeah, so it switched. My theory is that OG0 is the name. Now, if OG0 is the name, then I can actually name it there and then use that in the other places where OG0 is used, hopefully, as a name. That's what I'm going to try. That's what I'm going to try today, or tomorrow, actually, because I have a thing to do right after work today. So that is what's going on with my with why we're mostly just talking about our our design page and stuff like that, is because I'm trying to figure that out. I think we can delete that actually. We got it covered over here. But what I'm probably going to do is go ahead and start building building the town out and stuff like that in the new setup. And we'll just leave the roofs off of them for right now. But some of them will be, what's the scope of this? We haven't passed OG to function, so it's a global scope. Is it declared global? No, it is not. I think that that's what I think the problem is. The way that the old way it used to be done is it would switch out automatically, whereas now it needs to be named. Building the town. Yep. It needs to be named to become a global, because what it's set up for, let me see if I can find it here again. Like I said, and I made it very clear at the beginning, I am not a programmer. So if we go to, where is it again? I think it's game. Entities, no. I think this one, where it's at. So we're here. So here's our globals. Because a couple of things happened, and all of them seem to be attached to the OG 0 through 2. One of them is my camera shake stopped working, but it still works on a new map I had to build as part of it. So there's a lot of things hidden here and there that I need to figure out. So, and I tried to, just how, this for pausing the game. This one is just another thing. This was a test message for the signs and the room start. So, yeah, so those were but this was the base. And then we also have our macros, which are, they're down here in scripts, I believe. Macros, where you at? Here are our macros for all the basic stuff. Yeah, so I'm learning, and it's confusing because I wish it was all on one page, but it's not. So you have to do something, then you have to go hunt it down. But here's my screen shade, and as you can see, it uses OG0 as well. So I think there's some confusion in there, is that I think those need to be named variables, not using OG and OG0. So I'm not sure. I don't remember where it's declared. So, and I apologize because I don't, because it seems going through the, thing that, and that's, it seems that going through the thing, it has made, I've used OG0 too many times in too many places, but it does match exactly what's in the tutorial. So that's where I'm getting some weird stuff going on. Because this is another one. Is this is for this calculates the attack, and it uses OG0 as well. So I'm like, okay, but something's missing, and I think it is exactly that. Is OG0 is not actually being defined anywhere, because as they put when the game system, the Game Maker Studio 4 years ago probably handled this differently, and right now the way that he wrote it is they're an array, and then they're not an array in another place, and then they just keep getting more and more of a mess. So I will have, my goal is to tear through all this over the weekend and see if I can get all those errors gone because it's crashing the game. And also go through all of their stuff. So yeah, there's no Auth0 in this. Boop, 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 boop. But we are missing some things. Dialog responses uses Auth0. This uses Auth2. I'm just scrolling through them all now. It's like a lot of little itty bitty pieces of code all over the place that I'm assuming. Here's one that says, see, because here Aug is an array. And I'm like, okay, so it looks at the Aug array and looks for all the responses and then puts those out. And that's for, yeah, best part of the game dev. Find the bug. And this is what you do. Mean is syntax. Oh, sorry. Argument 0. Argument array. So message equals argument array. And I know this is part of the problem because if we go to, and here's our array ledge, but if we go to the, I think I closed the window down here. Did I close it? Okay, well, open that back up. Okay, so if we go to this, you can see where it says string array cannot capture the content, identifier cannot capture the content. And when we go to them, there's Aug. There's message, which is what we were just looking at, is message is defined as argument and then the argument array. So I think that I just need to learn how arrays work and then rewrite that section properly for arrays. And then I think it will fix the other things. If only we knew someone whose son was good with GameMaker, that they actually sponsored his streams from time to time and could probably help with some of the lack of newer documentation. I'll have to think about that. I don't know anybody whose son does that. Let me think. The problem is his schedule is a nightmare, and getting in even 5 minutes with him is very difficult, especially now. There's a lot going on, a lot of things he's trying to chase down. So, yeah, so I think this is where my problems lie, is all my problems lie with the fact that argument has been used in too many places, too many times, as per the tutorial. And for a normal programmer, it would probably be a very easy fix. But for me, it's kind of eluding me what the answer is. Was put so well. That's true. The dude does not stop. He doesn't. You know, I talk to both the boys at least once or twice a month, you know, because I kind of like them, you know, but in that time, getting them on the line sometimes very difficult. Sovars, thank you very much for the follow. No, that was a follow, right? I didn't see. Okay. You could ask Thor on the stream sometime to show him what you've been working on. You need to get in his calendar. Yeah, getting his calendar is not easy because there's a lot going on, and I'm not. I'll be very honest. I'm not very happy with a lot of it because it's a lot of it's just lying, you know, and I don't know why people think it's important to make shit up about him. It's uncalled for and unnecessary. You know, the one that pisses me off more than anything else is the Nepo baby thing, which is completely 100% not true. And I've told the story on here a couple times, and even went on his show and told the story. Is the only thing I did to help him was make him rewrite his resume about 5 times before applying at Blizzard. I never talked to his hiring manager. I never talked to his boss. I never talked to anybody in HR about him. Nothing, you know. And everybody goes, well, his last name's Hall. Everybody would put it together. No, there was 3,000 people at Blizzard at that time in the U.S. alone. You know, 7,000 worldwide, and a good percentage of them, not a good percentage, but a percentage higher than one, were last name Hall. In fact, one of the people that's saying some horrible things about him's last name is Hall too. And I'm like, okay, did they think you were my child too? You know? But I made it very clear to him that I was not going to help him in any way, and he'd have to do it himself. Didn't you help him get an internship when he was in his teens? No. No, I did not. He applied for the internship on his own. That's just all there was to it. You know, and people keep saying, no, his dad saved him and stuff like that. You know, and he tells the story, and I think I said a little bit about it yesterday, in that one of his bosses saw him talking to me at some event. I don't even remember what the event was, and got mad because he was talking to me. And how dare a QA guy talk to someone that had been there for 20 years or more, you know? And he, that's when we had to tell people. This was a few years after he had been there. He had been there. That's when we started telling people. And he had to say to the guy, he goes, I was talking to him because he's my dad. And that's when they found out. That's when people found out he was my son. It wasn't. And it was years after he started. You know, and his bosses never talked to me about what he was doing, where he was going, what was going on with him, anything. I would never have that conversation. It just wasn't going to happen. But now they're saying, oh, he's a Nepo baby. His dad saved him 1,000 times. No, he had his job there because he did the job that they told him to do. Now, other people in the room, I don't know what they saw, heard, whatever. Have no clue about any of it. So, whatever. But to go back and just like lay into someone and say, you're actually stupid and all of everything you've ever got was given to you by your dad. No, both my boys will tell you. I used to tell them this is, they go, Dad, are we rich? And I'd say, no, we're not rich. I'm rich. You're not. You have to make your own. I raised both my boys that way, is that if you want to get better in life, you do not, what I have or do or anything like that has nothing to do with you. You know, you have to go out and you have to earn it yourself. And he did. Did he do it in a perfect way? Probably not. I didn't either. You know, so you know what? And other people's perception isn't going to change the amount of effort you put into something. You know, because I guarantee you, even people who worked with me, they don't know everything my boss told me. They don't know everything my boss said I had to do, and they don't know what things I did without my boss's permission. And they never will. You know, but I did the best I could do in the moment. And I think he did as well. But nobody's always going to know everything about your situation. Nobody. So I'm sorry, got a little bit on the ranty side. I've been very ranty today. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, as far as the Nepo stuff, stop it. The kid got in there on his own. Yes, I helped him rewrite it, or made him rewrite his resume. I didn't actually write it for him, you know, but he got in there and he was there for 5 or 7 years. I don't even know how long he was there, but he was there for quite a while. And this other stuff, whatever this other stuff is, what's the point? It's like we were talking the other day. It's all this stuff is just games. When you walk out in the real world, the game doesn't matter anymore. Yes, and they do. They make judgments over their own life experience. You're actually right, Sparta. But to just assume that because someone knows someone in a high rank, to just assume and then cry out to the world that that person helped them when you have no idea, you're just wrong. You're just trying to be an ass. And commercials where I need to take a breath. Davies Air Corner, you're absolutely Art Corner, you're absolutely right. If they truly did their research and truly went back and looked, all this would mean nothing. But that's not it. It's a sensational. It's chasing sensationalism in order to hurt someone, and that's uncalled for. That makes you wrong. Period. As a person doing it, and yes, I mean you can always find somebody that's going to join you in that. But to get to the point of trying to ruin someone's life over it, I can't condone that in any way, shape, or form. Any way, shape, or form. Especially if you're going as far as to post private information about them and their families in hopes that somebody does something to them. That I just like that makes me so livid. It's crazy. Yeah, I don't see any of them coming in here and saying, "Okay, what happened?" Assumptions can cloud our judgment and limit our understanding. Instead of jumping to conclusions, take the time to verify. Yes, but misinformation and drama gets more clicks. That is true. And ad rev than the truth. But some of these people don't have streams that are doing this. Some of these people are just like, okay, we're going to go do this over here and be dicks to each other. Mm. Yeah, because I'll tell you right now, I was not happy at all last week when a lot of my private information was put online because of this. Not happy about it at all. Yet, none of them, as you guys say here, none of them reached out and even had a conversation with me and said, what really happened? Did you do this? Are the things that we're saying about you and your family, because they've outed all of us, are these the things that is any of this stuff true? Yes, it is. But my understanding is the website that is releasing all the information is not in the U.S. So, and has moved around several times because they keep doing this kind of crap. So, I don't know. And I can see why Thor's been putting announcements out about this is too far, this is stupid, I'm exhausted from this, because it is. It's very exhausting for all this stuff to be happening. And it's part of the world we live in, so we have to pay attention to it. We can't just brush it under the rug. So yeah, there's a lot of things out there. I'm not going to say what the name of the website is because I don't want more people showing up at my door, but you know, or at anybody else's door of the people in the family that they've put information out. It's just stupid and it's mean, and I don't get it because I don't see what the final outcome is. Is it just to ruin him because it's funny? Is it to ruin him because he did something wrong? And we'll get to that because this is what set me off the other day when I was listening to Anna talk about her friend that was being, some of the same things were happening to them because they made a mistake in the game or something happened in the game that pissed some people off. You should not have your life threatened because you missed a magic healing spell in a fucking Warcraft game. That is just like, that makes no frickin' sense to me. It's a frickin' game. It's not real life. Real life is when you turn the game off and get off your ass and get out there and do stuff. Sorry. I'm getting worked up. I will stop. So that's one of the reasons why I have zero tolerance for that in this chat or in our groups. If this is the way you want to play it, go play somewhere else. You know, however, if you want to ask me serious questions and understand my answers, I will answer those questions. But if you don't like the answers, there's not a damn thing I can do about that. Jason was not a Nepo baby. He got the job on his own. And my understanding was he worked his ass off in that job. So stop it. Well, I've tried my best to keep silent about it, and I can't anymore. So, and I already realized there's probably not, my ranting and raving about it probably isn't going to do a goddamn thing, and that's fine. But I also, here's probably what the problem is we've named our var args. I think this is where our problem is. Because I named this array with those args. Okay. Sorry, I distracted myself for a second on purpose. Yeah, because I knew his boss in QA very, very well. In fact, he was one of the people one of the higher ups that I hung out with quite a bit. We never talked about Jason. We never talked about him being my son. He did not even know that Thor was my son because he went by Thor. He didn't go by his first name, which is what people at Blizzard knew him as. The higher ups at Blizzard knew him as Jason, period. Because he had been hanging around or in and out of the office from the time he was 7 years old or 6 years old. You know, so. So, well, they should have just said, his last name's Hall. He must be Jory Ray's kid. Blah, blah, blah. That's so freaking bullshit. You know, like I said, even one of the people who are on that website complaining about him have the last name Hall. So their argument that they should have known because his last name was Hall makes no sense, because your last name is Hall too, and you're not my child. I'm sorry, logic. Yeah, it is a shame because you're going to go and ruin someone for nothing because they made a mistake in a game. Hmm. Oh my God. Get the firing squads out. And I do apologize because we're supposed to be talking about game development. However, I think this is a part of our industry that we have to look at. It's a part of who we put ourselves out there for. He put himself out there in order to help people that he felt needed help. I'm putting myself out here because I'm like, okay, let's play some of the old games and let's just have conversations. And then we got into this game development stuff, and that's cool too because I'm actually enjoying it because it gives my brain stuff to work on. But do I have to worry now about if I say something just a little bit off kilter that people are going to show up at my door? Because all of our addresses are now out there. That's why. Why was that necessary? I do not understand why that was necessary. Even the ones that claim that they know me, I figured out who some of them are. I've never had a conversation with them about Jason in my life. And some of them are telling lies that, oh, I met his second wife who used to be married to someone else at Blizzard. No, you didn't, because I've never had a second wife, number one. And I had a strict rule not to date anybody at Blizzard ever. And I said it jokingly, and I'm going to say what I used to say, but if it hurts your feelings, I'm sorry. But I said, don't stick your dick in the snow. That was the rule. Because a lot of people did, and it caused a lot of problems. So I used to joke and say, I will never stick my dick in the snow. Period. And all of the people, yes, I hung around a lot of people and stuff like that. I got accused of dating people and stuff like that. No, we were friends. We hung out. I have never kissed, hugged, had sex, or anything else with anybody at Blizzard. Ever. Go back to rule 1. Don't stick your dick in the snow. Yes, it works even better when you're at Blizzard. Yes. Frostbite is worse, especially in certain areas. Yeah. It's funny because I really wish that uh, Jason Shearer would have put that comment in or that quote in the book, but he didn't. That's fine though. Uh, yeah, I had a lot of really, really good friends at Blizzard, both male and female. And we did a lot of things together. But you just don't do that. Snow was misheard as stove. That's funny. Yeah, but yeah, don't stick your dick in the stove. That's probably not a good thing. Yeah, that's a good one too. It's all the same thing. It's just for me, I wanted to make it. I wanted to blizzify it, so I using snow and blizzard just made sense. So Sparta says, "Don't shit where you cook your bread." Same thing, same theory. You know, yeah. But did I give a lot of advice to people that were at Blizzard? Yes. Did I do a lot of counseling when I was at Blizzard for different people? Yes. Did I make a lot of stupid comments here and there over 23 years? Guess what? Yes. Because I don't know if you guys notice, but humor is kind of a big thing for me. I really like humor, and I find everything funny. If you were raised in my childhood, you probably would have become Dexter times 10. But I was lucky in that I had a sense of humor, And that sense of humor got me through a lot of that. What pisses me off most is that both you and Thor carry yourselves with a lot of integrity. And I think Thor's work and how he runs his company speaks volumes about his character. And this petty, hateful people just have to try and tear down. Yeah, and that's part of it. You know, it's just I was talking the other day about my friends when I first started working at Silicon and Synapse and when I was a plumber, everything was fine when I was a plumber because I was the lowest person on the totem pole because everybody else had better jobs, all that stuff, and I was just a plumber, you know. And apparently a lot of my friends were very happy with the fact that I was just a plumber. When I got into Silicon and Synapse and we started growing, we became Blizzard and stuff like that, and I became, quote, successful, a lot of them hated me for it. Because I was supposed to, because of my growing up and because of who I was as a plumber, I was supposed to be the loser of the group. I chose not to be. And I worked my ass off not to be. But still, to this day, there are people that make shit up about me in that group, that tell each other stories about me that aren't true, you know. And I'm just like, okay, fine. You know, you guys be that way. Let me look at this. We just got a mod thing here. Auto mod says this is a bad thing. Let's see. Better characters than. Yeah, I'm always at a loss for words. In these situations, I don't even feel worked up. It just makes me sad seeing that humans like you and me be getting lost in the waves of their own emotional watching as to slowly destroy them and everyone around them. And then it happens to someone like Thor, who is still not perfect. He'll say he's not perfect. He knows that because he's a human, but he's a better character than most of the certain better character than whichever fucker is doing that to the person who helped inspire people to make games. I'm going to go ahead and allow that, even though the bot, I'm going to let that in. So, yeah, it makes no sense to me. But we seem to be at a time, for lack of a better way to put it, of the rise of the bullies. You know, that's the way I'm going to. That's the term I'm going to use. Is we're in the age of the rise of the bullies. You know, and there's two things that's going to happen: is either those bullies are going to be defeated, or they're going to take over. You know, so who knows yet? I don't know yet. You know, I look at a lot of things and go, how could this even how can some of this stuff even be happening? You know, and then it comes so close to home that I'm just like, guys, yeah. I think that there's some of them, some of my, I'll be, let me be fair with them. There's some of them that were very happy that I succeeded, that I surpassed what was expected of me and all that stuff. But there's one or two there that use that opportunity to say some really untruthful, hateful things about me. And I did not even know about some of them till about 6-7 months ago, when one of them said one of the things online, and I'm like, I never did that. But they couldn't be convinced. But it also made me realize not only what was said, but who said it, which really made me just go, okay, yeah, someone's playing a game here. But did it ruin a friendship of a couple people that I actually thought were really good friends? Yes, ruined it completely. And if we called them right now, they would say mean and horrible things about me. Okay. Doesn't mean it's true. Their perception of it may be true, but where did they get their information? Did anybody do any research on this? Or was it something else? Thinking is hard. That's a good one. Thinking is hard. It's hard. Why would I do that? That's work. I don't have enough electrolytes to do that. So, well, the problem with the website is it's not in an area that anything can be done about, is my understanding. So, yep. I know that everything's been reported, everything's been done, but I also know that it keeps growing, and I don't. In all honesty, I think higher of people than what I'm seeing in these situations right now. I really hope that their better selves will come out eventually. Or I was talking to a friend the other day about it, and or sadly, someone else out there makes a mistake and they turn their eye of Sauron on that person instead. But it's like, who knows? Because I'll tell you right now, do I want my roommates from 30, 40 years ago to come out here and talk about me? No, I don't. I don't see any good in that at all. Because if you've ever upset a roommate, you know how bad that can get. Doesn't mean they're right. Doesn't mean you're right. It's just, you've had 20 years to stew about it. And if I called every roommate I've ever had, trust me, they would have words, because I'm a growing, evolving human. And yes, I may have done really stupid shit back then. Doesn't mean I do it today. So should I be punished for it forever? I don't think so. But who knows? Nobody is. Great Uncle Ann, nobody is the same person. And if they are, then I feel sorry for them. That is correct. Oni Demon, you are absolutely correct. The only thing for evil to succeed is for good people to do nothing. We have a lot of examples of that these days. Every version of ourselves has made us. That's another thing. Is Savvy Otter, what I tell people is this, is like, because they go, if you could, would you go back to change your childhood? Would you change this? Would you change that? And I say, no, I wouldn't. Because if you change even one of those things, I would not be the person I am today. I would not have walked into the correct room at the correct time to change everything in my life. I wouldn't have been that person. Wouldn't even been in that situation. So no, I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't change a damn thing. I owned my home and had to reject people who want to live with me. My best friend said it best to me. People don't move from someone's home on good terms. No, you don't. You don't move out. Nobody moves out on good terms. It's just the way we are. Perspective is everything. You're absolutely right. It's like, I always use the term this. It's like punctuation. Punctuation is the same as perspective. Is what's that up in the road ahead? What's that up in the road ahead? Same thing. Punctuation can be a good example of perspective. It's an old joke. I forget the comedian that said it, but it always makes me laugh because it's what I think about when people are talking about stuff. It's like I think I said it early on in the streams when we first started, is I can explain the color blue to you forever. It does not mean that the color blue you see in your head is the color blue I'm talking about. You know, I've said it in big talks I've done in front of big audiences too. It's just like we can go on forever and ever and ever. But unless I take it out and show you the color blue I'm talking about, I will never know if the color blue you see in your head is the same one, because your experience with color blue is never the same experience I've had with the color blue. And ads. And zombie that. Thank you. Let's eat, Grandma. Let's eat, Grandma. Yeah, see? You're right. Yep. Flu, you're absolutely right. Never make the assumption that I am thinking what you're thinking, or that because you've said something, I know what you're talking about visually. It's not going to happen. Let's see. Savvy Otter says, perspective is a lens through which we see the world, and how we choose to adjust it can transform our understanding, our reactions, and our lives. The terminally online have a dirty lens. They need to clean it. Good point. Good way to put it. Well, it's just like I was saying, is you playing games is all well and good, and we should always find ways to play games. That's fine. But if you play it to the point to where you change your manner of thinking, or your manner of solving problems to only the way the game is structured, then when you come to the real life, you're not prepared. And that's the only problem, is you have to be strong enough to separate your game world from your reality world. Well, it's also, and I would say this happens in relationships quite a bit, because this is one of the problems that I run into in some relationships, is you get to the point to where your partner believes they know what your answer will be. So they don't bring things up to you because they already think they know what your answer is going to be. And I don't think that's fair. You know, I've been guilty of that as well, where I think, oh, well, they don't really like this, so we're not going to do that. But I never really asked them. So I was being, in my mind, I was being unfair to them because I never asked them. I just made the call for them without even running it past them, and that's not fair. You don't have to read minds. You just ask. The thing that bothers me the most is the situation is that this is happening to this degree within a sphere of game specifically. Yeah. Good one, Sparta. Never make the assumption that I'm thinking. That's good. I like that one. That was good. Yeah. I mean, I think that eventually we're going to have to get to a point where the internet is policed. For lack of a better way to put it, I'm going to use the word policed, but it's maybe a little too strong, where the internet is policed better. And that I'm not talking about I'm not, there is a line that if crossed, yes, legal consequences should be enacted, but we should be able to catch these kind of behaviors before it gets to that point without having to take legal action. You know, it's just like in here. I mean, I really want us to be able to, like, if someone's coming in and they're starting to disrupt stuff, I want us to be able to raise our hand and say, excuse me, that's not right over there. We need to stop it. Because I'm not going to have that kind of thing in here. If it gets to the point that that's the only thing going on in here, I'll just turn everything off and go do something else. You know, so I don't want to do that. However, I'm not going to let any of you, as well as myself, have to hang out in a toxic environment. It ain't going to happen. You know, because if it gets to that, it's not worth it. Okay, I'm walking away. You know, we'll start a little internet club somewhere where we just like, okay, we're going to make a clean spot on the internet and hopefully slowly move our way outwards, cleaning it up. But that's going to be a big job because humans. You're talking about treating the disease instead of the symptoms. The symptoms is the bottom line symptom to me is this, is we have not worked hard enough to help people that are in trouble. We don't educate well enough. We don't train well enough. We don't hug enough. We don't, you know, we don't teach empathy enough. We just teach, oh, they're weak, slap them. That's what we teach. And that's not good. And I think you're right on that, Sparta, but I also have to make the argument that if it's happening around us, say someone came in and was doing things like that in our chat. If it's happening around us, if we don't speak up, then we're just as bad. You know, if we're not speaking up, then we're condoning. You condone with silence, and that's not a good thing. As history has shown many times, it's really not the best thing to keep silent because eventually you're the one they're coming after next. Once they're done with everybody they've already attacked, they're going to attack you. No, I wouldn't say they're weak slap them. That's the mentality that we kind of have now, which I don't believe in. Would fix some of these situations, maybe. You know, the thing is I'm more concerned as to why the people got so upset. What was the cause of them getting so upset that it had to be raised to this level? What was the true seed? Was it jealousy? Was it what was it? What was it? I don't understand what makes it escalate to this realm and why it escalated to this realm so quickly. You know, but yeah. And I can see there's part of that. It's just like, okay. Because I guarantee for every single person listening, for every single person out there, there's someone in your life that wants you to fail. Sorry, there is. They'll probably never tell you, they'll probably never show it. But when you do something wrong or you fail, they're giggling inside. Paradoxal, yes. Game developers made games. Mm. Or more than one. That is true, Pirateer Frank. You know, I did too. I mean, Sparta says, I tried to kick out every person that wanted me to fail. I did the same thing. I had a calling back in the 90s where I'm just like, okay, you know what? You're a friend. You over there, you really aren't. So we're not gonna interact all that much anymore. You know, but it's because I needed it for my mental health to get away from the people that were trying to drag me down or believe that I should be less than what I am. And I'm not going to do that. So, I don't think we'll ever know for sure, but Thor has had a target on his back by the Save Games guy ever since he called him out on the absurdity of it. Okay, I don't know who the Save Games guy is, so do you love these deep talks? I I like to have them, but I also know we're on the internet, you know. But by the same token, everything about me has already been outed. So the only thing that hasn't happened is SWAT hasn't showed up at my door yet. So yeah, I don't know who the Save Games guy is. So stop killing games. I think is that the guy that someone was in here the other day or last week, I think. Who was saying, what would you do to make sure that all games were preserved forever? And I'm like, no. I mean, if it's not in a museum environment, companies should not be obligated to keep games alive that they can't fund anymore. Already, all that's been taken care of, Maker. Yeah, someone came in the other day, asked something, and I basically said what my piece is on it is because it sounded like they were saying that if an online game is no longer viable, meaning that the company can't run anymore, that they should hand it over to somebody else and just give them codes so people could play for free. And I don't think that's correct. I don't think that's the right way to go. Number one, why should, because a company defaults, why should they give up their rights to their IP to someone else? Now, I do agree that that company could, doesn't have to, but could put those games and some of the servers into a museum environment where they can still be seen, but played and all that stuff. Like thousands of people still playing it. If thousands of people really wanted to still be playing that game would not have failed, and they would still have the money to keep it alive. And so companies should not be forced to keep a game alive that they can't afford to keep alive, because I don't think most people realize how much money it costs for a single server on a game. And to keep that single server not only alive, but viable. You know, the rotation of it, all that stuff, there's a lot in there. Because as scary as it might seem, one server doesn't hold that many people. So if you have millions of people in a game and your server is only, as a just a rough guess, if your server holds 10,000 people, divide 1 million by 10,000, that's how many servers you have to have up and running for those people to play. No, because if you Pirateer Frank, you're absolutely right. If you really wanted to play those games and you were very honest about it, you would pay to play them. To have some people come in and say, no, you must give it to us free because you can't keep it, because you can't make it viable anymore. That's no, that makes no sense to me at all. Yeah, the cost of keeping a game live is so astronomical, and I don't think people are thinking about that. You know, it's just sad, you know. And not you're absolutely right, Santu. Not everything is forever, nor should it be. I mean, I go back and play. I'm playing these games for nostalgia purposes. Does that mean that we should be they should be out there and everybody should be buying them still and all that stuff? No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying I enjoy these games. I still have the opportunity to play them. I'm going to. Okay. Mm. Oh wow. Oh. I'm sure that I have said a lot of things quite a few people probably don't want to hear, but that's my opinion. And that's it. It's only my opinion, which means nothing. You know the best thing about opinions online? You can turn them off. Okay, let me try to understand this, Troy. For me, I just don't like how devs sabotage a game like Evolve. It took tons of extra steps for Evolve to be played now. Yeah, I mean, it's their game. You know, they probably brought in a new art director or a new game designer and said, try to improve this. And they failed at improving it. I don't know. I've never played. If Evolve is the one, I seem to remember one back in the early 90s where you started out as an amoeba and then you evolved into different things. You know, that's one thing about games is when new people come in, they have new ideas. They want to put their spin on it. They want to fix the things that they think were wrong. It doesn't mean that everybody thinks it's wrong. It just means that that person thinks it's wrong, and that change can upset a lot of people. You know, but if the if the company that owns the game approved it, then okay. Okay, the thing about Stop Killing Games was a bit different. To the average person and even to the dude who made sense. They believed it and believed we were actually doing the right thing, and it seemingly is a good thing. Wanting to play more games and preserve history. But then came the thing of human stubbornness. If you don't think about it much and think he has talking about seemed rational, But in reality, they were missing some critical information. That's true. I mean, and that's the way I took it, is it's not, because the way that the person described it online, maybe it was a poor description, but I took it as, okay, they can't keep the company can't keep that game long viable anymore. Give it to us so we can give it to people for free. That's the way the explanation came across to me when the person came online. And I'm like, no. If the game is still viable, if people still want to play it, then it's better for them to actually pay for the game so the original developers can keep working on it or keep doing things with it. Because it's not like, I mean, if you said, okay, we're going to turn off WoW today. You know how many servers you're talking about? It's not just, oh, we have X number of servers in our country. It's, you have to look at it throughout all of the world. But yeah, nobody should have to, because another thing that came across is when the guy came on and when he asked the question was, nobody should have to put all their work into something and then have someone come up and say, you have to give it to us now because we want to be able to play it in 20 years. That, no, I'm not giving up my ownership to a product or an IP, intellectual property or anything else, simply because you want to preserve it unless it's in a viable museum situation. Then I have completely different meanings of that. But that's not the way it was presented. That's a good point. And I think that point is very good, Chryson. Yes. I don't think they really know what they're asking for, in all honesty. And there are some. In fact, I think WoW is in the U.S. Congressional Library. You know, there's several games. I know Lost Vikings is. I know some of the others are. That's fine. Good. They're preserved forever. Yes, game dev is an actual business. You are absolutely right, Sparta. Sometimes a business doesn't make the right decisions, as always, because we are humans. Businesses are run by humans. Its products can suffer, but it's also a artistic business, and artists always owns the rights to their art. Yes and no. That's another situation another conversation we should have, because if you work for a company, you have to really be careful reading your contracts that you have with that company, because they can walk away with the rights to your work. Always owns the rights to their work. If a band breaks up and you don't ask them to release their music for free, yeah, is that what you do? Okay, so Rolling Stones all die tomorrow. Does that mean that everybody gets their music now for free that they made? No. Yeah, a museums thing, I'm 100% for that. You know, because you can go and you can see and say, okay, look, son, this is the games we used to play. Aren't they cool? You know, but I'm not gonna keep Pong alive forever. You know, it just doesn't make sense. Copyright is also it does have an expiry. I think it's like 75 years now, because I think Disney got it changed from 50 to 75 a few years back, because Mickey Mouse was coming up on copyright, losing their copyright. Yeah. I may be wrong on those dates, but I know that there was an increase a while back. Hmm. Yeah, they just lost Steamboat Willie in the last year. So yeah, Steamboat Willie is not under copyright anymore. But I can also see that the Killing Games guys would come back and go, well, it works for copyright. Copyright expires. Why shouldn't this? Yeah. Okay, we need to start bundling this up. We got way off game dev, but there's an industry out there, and there are behind every single game you've ever played is a group of people that made it and loved it and wanted it, and it's their decision whether they want to release it to the public, meaning the code and stuff like that. You know, because I think that you may be able to now use Steamboat Willie and things, but doesn't mean you get all the original drawings. Doesn't mean you get all the frames from Steamboat Willie cartoons and stuff like that. But yeah, copyright should expire when every contributor is dead. That's an interesting theory. Of course, then you'd have people that nowadays you'd have people that go out and kill them just so the copyright would expire. And that would be terrible. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Savvy. I really am glad. Copyright assassins. Yeah, it could happen. Guess what? People, humans. The way I always said it was humans loose on the streets. You never know what's going to happen. I don't know. Was it Savvy? Was this better than me sitting here picking my nose? I mean, I have to make the argument that picking my nose would have probably felt a little more enjoyable to me personally, you know, but then again, would it have been interesting for you guys? I don't know. But thank you for the callback on the picking the nose thing. That makes me happy. I'm gonna keep that quote. Spitting facts is better than picking your nose. I like that. Very good. I'm keeping that. I'm copying it right now. I mean, hitting copy. Where's my spreadsheet? I'm putting it in the spreadsheet. It's going to be a piece of advice in the game. That's excellent. That is exactly what it's going to be. Since we are doing game dev, so the last thing we'll do is we'll go, see, this is what I like about this stuff. Nope, not that page. I'm going to close that one. Okay. Game advice. Ah, this is beautiful. I like it already. You see that? You can. I'm going to paste it right there. Okay, I need to change the color. Okay. It is right there in under game advice. Spitting facts is better than picking your nose. I love that. It's going in the spreadsheet. That's right. It's serious. Ha 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 ha. And this advice can come from anywhere. We could actually add this to some of the villagers. That would be awesome. Don't forget to attribute the artist. Okay, let's do it this way. In fact, we can make a character. The Savvy Otter. Oh. There you go. So Savvy Otter gets the very first pissed line in the game. This is our game's version of stop poking me. That's it. Hmm. Hmm. Oh, that would be good. Is if we had a uh we had an otter in the pond. Sorry, my fingers. We'll make a character. We'll make an otter character and put it in the pond. When you go to talk to it, it will say, "Spitting facts is better than picking your nose." No, there'll be some Matt Damon stuff in there. Don't worry, we'll be all good. Because we can do a thing where okay. We've already paid too much to save him. We call it Dat Damon. Damon. Dat Mayman. Dat Mayman. That's a sunk cost fallacy. Okay. Dat Mayman. We have already paid too much to save him. Alrighty, let's oh no, we're actually a little bit early, so that's good. But once again, sorry about the rant. It just things get under my skin, and I don't like dealing with I don't understand the need for it. So Savvy says the otter should spit facts. That would be funny. Team America World Peace Police. Yes, that was funny. Matt Damon. The only thing I think about when I think about Matt Damon is two things: Jimmy Kimmel's feud with him, and the fact that over $900 million has been spent to save him in movies. That always makes me absolutely hilarious to me. And yet nobody goes and saves Ben Affleck. But, okay. Yeah, billion. Sorry. Yeah. I am losing my home. Yep. Yeah, people just let Ben Affleck die, but they'll go save Matt Damon every single time. I don't understand that one at all. Okay. Doop 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 doop. Let's turn that off. We're going to turn these. Where'd it go? Where go? Oh, Rocky stayed with us the whole time. That was pretty nice of her. Yeah. What's the difference between death and you're dead mods? I don't know. No, the only true person that can save themselves, and I have to be very honest with this, the only true person on the planet that can save themselves is Chuck Norris. He is the only true person that can save himself. It's in my spreadsheet. Yes. Let me save the spreadsheet so I don't lose that, because I want to make sure that I don't lose that, because that's very funny. Spitting facts is better than picking your nose. Nope, Chuck Norris. He is the rescue plan. Yes, he is. Yeah, the Chuck Norris stuff just cracks me up.